I was just organizing budget reports when the email popped up on my screen. Come to my office. Now. Mr. Carter. I froze. He never used that tone. Never sent direct messages like that. My heart raced. My palms went cold. Had I messed something up? Was I getting fired? As I walked toward his office, I could feel every stare in the hallway like knives in my back. The receptionist gave me a strange look, like she knew something I didn't. When I reached the door, I hesitated, then knocked. Come in. His voice was calm, low, too calm. I stepped inside. He was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, facing the city skyline. The door clicked shut behind me. He didn't turn around. I waited. Finally, he turned, slowly. His eyes locked onto mine like he had been thinking about this moment for days. Then, he said 5 words I'll never forget. Close the blinds. Sit down. I blinked. Sir? He walked toward me, no smile, no expression. Just heat. And as I reached for the cord to close the blinds, I felt it. This wasn't about spreadsheets anymore. My name's Ethan. I'm 26, and I've worked at Crestwood Financial in downtown Chicago for almost a year now. I'm quiet. I blend in. I do my job, I go home, and I try not to make waves. People always told me to keep my head down, especially being gay in a high-stakes, ultra-corporate world where everyone wears masks. So that's exactly what I did. Until, him. Mr. Carter. He's 38. Our team director. Tall, confident, perfectly tailored suits, and a voice like velvet-coated steel. No one knew much about him, other than the fact he went through a messy divorce 6 months ago and hasn't smiled since. But for some reason, he noticed me. Not in a creepy, obvious way. It was in the way his gaze lingered a little longer in meetings. The way he asked me to stay late when he easily could have emailed. At first, I thought it was in my head. Wishful thinking, maybe. But then there was the time his hand accidentally brushed mine when I handed him a report, and he didn't pull away. That was the first time I couldn't sleep. I told myself. He's your boss, Ethan. He's straight. Married. Dangerous. Forget it. But the more I tried to ignore it, the more intense it got. And then came that rainy Tuesday night. I stayed late, trying to fix a broken client report. Everyone had gone. The office was dark except for the glow of my screen. That's when I heard his voice behind me. You shouldn't work this hard. Come on, I'll drive you home. I hesitated. I should have said no. But I didn't. In his car, there was music playing low. Some old jazz station. We didn't talk much. But there was a heaviness in the silence, something unsaid, something dangerous. When we reached my building, I thanked him and reached for the handle. But he stopped me with a quiet sentence that hung in the air like thunder. You don't see it, do you? I turned to him, confused. See what? His eyes didn't blink. How incredible you are. I looked away instantly. My heart thudded. Was this real? Or was I misreading everything? Before I could reply, he added softly. That's why I called you in tonight. It's not about work. And just like that, my entire world shifted. I had no idea what I was walking into. But somehow, I knew I wouldn't walk out the same. The next morning at work, everything felt off. I thought maybe last night had been a dream. Maybe I misunderstood what he said. Maybe he was just being kind. Supportive. Professional. But then I saw him. Mr. Carter. Standing at the espresso machine in the break room, same navy suit, same expressionless stare, but his eyes met mine and didn't look away. For 3 full seconds, we just stared. And then he smirked. Not a wide smile. Just a flicker of something dangerous. Something that said, "You're not crazy." I meant what I said. I looked away first. My hands were shaking as I filled my cup. He walked past me, so close I could feel the heat of his body. He didn't say a word. The rest of the day was a blur. I kept replaying his voice in my head. You don't see how incredible you are. Why would he say that? Why me? I avoided him the rest of the week. Skipped the Thursday check-in meeting. Responded to his emails with one-liners. I needed space. But space doesn't help when the battlefield is in your mind. I couldn't stop thinking about him. The way he looked at me. The way he moved. The way his voice dropped half an octave when he was alone with me. I was spiraling. Then Friday came. I stayed late again, not because I had work, but because I didn't want to go home. The office was empty. Just the hum of computers and the sound of thunder rolling outside. And that's when I heard it again. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. I turned, and there he was. Mr. Carter. He looked exhausted. Tie loosened. shirt sleeves rolled. His eyes locked on mine like he had come straight from a war. And then, softly, he asked, "Why are you avoiding me?" I swallowed. "I'm not." He raised an eyebrow. "Really?" I didn't answer. He walked closer. "You think I don't notice when someone's pulling away from me? Especially someone I—" He stopped mid-sentence. Then looked down. "Never mind." I felt my heart hammering in my chest. I tried to step past him, but he gently reached out and touched my wrist. "You don't have to be scared of me," he said. His hand was warm. Steady. My voice was barely a whisper. "I'm not scared of you. I'm scared of what this means." He stepped even closer. Our faces were inches apart. "I know what it means. That's why I've kept my distance. That's why I never crossed a line." He paused. "But I'm done pretending." I looked at the floor. "If anyone finds out, I'll resign." He said it like it was nothing. Like his whole career didn't matter. "I don't care about the job anymore. I care about the truth." I was breathless. I didn't know what to say. So I didn't say anything. Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I leaned into his touch. Just slightly. But it was enough. He moved his hand from my wrist to my jaw. Slowly. Carefully. Like he was waiting for me to stop him. I didn't. But before anything else could happen, my phone buzzed. A message from my friend, Maddie. "HR just called, they want to speak with you Monday morning. Everything okay?" I stepped back immediately. Mr. Carter noticed. "What is it?" I shook my head. "I need to go." He didn't follow me. Didn't say another word. But as I walked out of the office, into the pouring rain, one thought haunted me. What if this was a trap? And yet, even after everything, I wanted to go back. I wanted to see him again. Even if it ruined me. Monday came faster than I wanted. My meeting with HR had nothing to do with Carter, just some paperwork error. But I left that room with my heart still racing. Because while I may have cleared one bullet, the real danger was still waiting down the hall. I tried to keep things professional again. Eyes forward. Speak only when spoken to. But even then, I could feel him watching me. Later that afternoon, I went to the break room to make tea. My nerves were shot. And of course, he was already there. Mr. Carter was leaning against the counter, sleeves rolled, tie loosened, that same unreadable expression on his face. Our eyes met. And for once, I didn't look away. I walked past him, grabbed a mug, and reached for the tea tin. And just like before, his hand brushed mine. But this time, I didn't move. He didn't either. A pause. A breath. And then, his fingers curled ever so slightly around mine. A quiet moment. Electric. Unreal. It lasted maybe 4 seconds. But it was enough to short-circuit everything in my body. He let go slowly. No one else was there. But it still felt like we'd committed a crime. I didn't mean to, I started. But he cut me off. "You did." His voice was low. Gentle. And so did I. Before I could respond, footsteps echoed in the hallway. A few interns burst in, laughing. We stepped back like guilty school kids. I pretended to stir my tea. He checked his watch. And just like that, the moment was gone. That night, I went home to my tiny studio apartment, heart still pounding. I replayed it over and over. The warmth of his hand. The way he looked at me. The way we both froze, waiting for the world to crash down. I was spiraling again. And Maddie, my best friend and the only person who knew I was gay, noticed. We were on FaceTime when she asked. "All right, spill. Who is he?" I tried to lie. "What are you talking about?" She narrowed her eyes. "You've been weird for 2 weeks. Blushing, distracted, flinching when your phone buzzes. You're into someone. And based on the fact you won't even say his name, I'm guessing it's complicated." I exhaled. "It's my boss." Her jaw dropped. "Oh. My. God. I didn't plan it," I whispered. "It just happened." "Is he gay?" "I don't know. I think so. Maybe. I mean, we haven't even kissed. But it's more than just attraction. I feel like he sees me, Maddie. Like, really sees me. And I don't know what to do." She got quiet for a second. Then said, "If he makes you feel seen, that's not something to ignore. But be careful, okay? You could get hurt. Or worse, fired." I nodded. I knew she was right. The next day, I did what I always did, put on my shirt and tie, smiled at reception, and tried to pretend I wasn't dying inside. Carter avoided me this time. No texts. No glances. Not even a nod in the hallway. For hours, I started to wonder. Had he regretted it? Did he think I'd crossed a line? Was he afraid? But then, just after 5 p.m., I got a calendar invite. No subject. Just one line. My office. 6 p.m. I stared at it for a full minute. I knew I could decline. But I didn't. I clicked accept. And as I walked toward his office once more, heart in my throat, I knew one thing for sure. Whatever happened behind that door would change everything. The hallway felt longer than ever. Every step I took toward Mr. Carter's office echoed louder in my head. I didn't know what I expected. Another confession? A warning? A kiss? When I reached the door, it was already slightly open. I knocked anyway. He didn't turn around. Just stood facing the window, watching the traffic crawl through the rain-soaked city. "Come in," he said. Quiet. Hollow. I stepped inside and closed the door softly behind me. He still didn't turn. Just said, "I'm sorry. That wasn't what I expected. I shouldn't have touched you," he continued. It was inappropriate. I crossed a line. I felt my stomach drop. So that was it. The shutdown. The reversal. Damage control. I wasn't uncomfortable, I said quickly. I didn't mind. He finally turned. His eyes weren't angry. They weren't cold. They were tired. "It's not about comfort, Ethan. It's about what's right." He ran a hand through his hair. "I've worked too hard to build this career. And I won't let one mistake, no matter how tempting, destroy it." Tempting. So it was real. "I'm not a mistake," I whispered. His expression changed, just for a moment. Pain. Regret. Longing. "No," he said. "You're not. That's the problem." I stood there, frozen. He looked like he wanted to say more. Maybe even reach for me again. But instead, he walked to his desk, picked up a folder, and handed it to me. "New client. You'll lead the research. Keep me updated weekly." Just like that, back to business. I took the folder with trembling hands, nodded, and turned to leave. But before I reached the door, he said one last thing. "You're talented, Ethan. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. Not even me." That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, mind racing, chest aching. I didn't know if I wanted to scream or cry or text him something reckless. Instead, I did nothing. For 2 full weeks. And he did nothing, too. No meetings. No emails. No accidental touches or late-night invites. He kept his distance like I was radioactive. But every time I passed his office, I felt him watching me. And that made it worse. Then came the company charity gala. It was mandatory. Formal dress code. Open bar. I wore a navy suit I'd borrowed from Maddie's boyfriend and tried to look confident. When I arrived, Carter was already there. He looked unreal, black suit, glass in hand, surrounded by department heads and clients. I avoided him. Stuck to the interns. Ate shrimp I couldn't taste. But then, during the speeches, I caught him watching me from across the ballroom. His expression unreadable. But his eyes looked like they were screaming. Later that night, as people danced and laughed and drank, I slipped outside to the balcony for air. Seconds later, I heard the door open behind me. "I didn't think you'd come," he said. I turned. He looked out of place, standing there alone, away from the crowd. "Didn't think I'd be allowed," I replied, unable to keep the bitterness out of my voice. He took a slow step forward. "I never meant to hurt you." "You didn't," I lied. He exhaled hard. Looked down at his drink. Then said something that shook me. "My ex-wife asked me once if I was hiding something. I told her no. I wasn't ready to admit that I didn't even know what I was hiding from." He looked up. "But I think I know now." I swallowed. "Do you regret it?" He didn't answer for a long time. Then finally, "No. I regret not being braver." We stood there, wind brushing against our suits, city lights flickering below. He didn't touch me. He didn't kiss me. But in that moment, something broke open between us. And when I walked back inside, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't over. Not even close. I didn't see him again after the gala. Not for 3 days. Then, on a quiet Wednesday evening, I was working late, again, partly for deadlines, mostly for distraction. The office was nearly empty. The sky outside had turned a deep indigo. I was typing out a client memo when the lights flickered. Not overhead, the lights from his office. They switched on. He was here. My pulse spiked instantly. I stared at my screen, debating if I should leave or pretend I didn't notice. Before I could decide, I heard the soft knock on my cubicle wall. He was standing there. No suit jacket this time. Just a black dress shirt, sleeves pushed up. His expression unreadable. "You're still here," he said. "Yeah. Just finishing a few things." He nodded slowly. "I am too." Then, silence. He didn't move. Didn't look away. Just stood there like he was waiting for something. After a few seconds, he said, "I need to talk to you." I followed him back to his office. When I walked in, he closed the door gently behind me. But this time, he didn't sit behind the desk. He stood in front of it. "I tried," he said, voice low. "I tried to stay away. I told myself it was wrong. That it couldn't happen." He took a breath. "But the truth is, I don't care anymore." I stared at him, frozen. He stepped closer. "Do you?" I shook my head. "No." That's when everything shattered, in the best way. He reached for me. Not fast. Not rough. Just real. Like someone who had been dying to touch, to feel, to stop hiding. His hand cupped my jaw, and I let myself fall into the moment. Our lips met, soft at first. Then deeper. It wasn't a movie kiss. It was desperate. Honest. Everything we hadn't said poured into it. When we finally pulled away, I whispered, "What now?" He looked at me like I was the only person in the world. "I don't know. But I'm done pretending you're just an employee." Then suddenly, a knock. We froze. I stepped back instinctively. He cleared his throat. "Come in." An assistant entered. "Mr. Carter, legal's asking if you've reviewed the—" She stopped mid-sentence, eyes flicking between us. I stepped toward the window, pretending to look outside. She didn't say anything. Neither did he. She just nodded, placed the folder on the desk, and left. As the door clicked shut again, he let out a long breath. "This is going to get complicated," he murmured. I turned to face him. Was it ever going to be simple? He gave a soft, tired smile. "No. But it's real." And for the first time in weeks, I felt clarity. Even if the storm was just beginning. That kiss didn't fix everything. If anything, it cracked the dam open. The next few days were chaos. Not in the office. No one said anything. On the surface, everything looked normal. But under that surface? My mind was spinning. We barely spoke, just subtle glances across the boardroom table, hands brushing as we exchanged folders, late-night emails signed only with a name and a full stop. But behind every interaction, was that kiss. Was the truth. Then Friday came. And with it, the worst possible timing. Maddie texted me at lunch. "Hey, just overheard something weird in the hallway. Some guy from compliance was asking about you and Mr. C. You okay?" I dropped my fork. Compliance? I hadn't told anyone. Not even her. And if someone knew, then everything was about to fall apart. I spent the rest of the day in a fog. Avoided everyone. Including him. But at 4:47 p.m., just before I could shut down my computer and make a run for the weekend, another message popped up. My office. 5 sharp. Mr. Carter. I almost didn't go. But part of me knew, this wasn't a request. This was a warning. I walked in at exactly 5 p.m. He was sitting behind his desk, face hard, jaw clenched. He didn't look up right away. "Close the door," he said. I did. When I turned back around, he stood. "I need to ask you something, and I need the truth." I nodded slowly. "Did you tell anyone?" "No," I said immediately. "I swear. Maddie knows something is going on because I've been acting weird, but I never told her. I never told anyone about us." His shoulders dropped just slightly. Relief mixed with frustration. "Someone knows," he said. "There's talk. Compliance is sniffing around. If this goes further, we're both in trouble." I didn't. "I know." His voice was softer now. "I know you didn't. That's why this is killing me." I stepped forward. "Then let me help you. Let's talk to legal. Let's set boundaries. Something." He shook his head. "They won't care. To them, this is misconduct. Power imbalance. Breach of ethics. They'll destroy you first, and then they'll come for me." He was spiraling. I could see it. This man, always so in control, was breaking right in front of me. I reached out, touched his arm. "You're not alone in this." His eyes met mine. "I'm going to resign." The words hit me like a slap. "What?" "It's the only way to protect you." "No. I already made the decision." He stepped away, voice shaking. "They'll announce it Monday morning. I've drafted the letter. It's done." I felt sick. "I didn't ask you to throw away your career." "I'm not doing it for you," he snapped, then instantly regretted it. I'm doing it because I can't keep living like this. I've spent my whole life pretending. Wearing masks. Hiding every piece of myself that didn't fit the perfect image. And then you walked in, and suddenly everything mattered again. I was quiet. He kept going. You made me want to be honest. With myself. With the world. And for once, I want to choose truth over safety. Tears pricked the corners of my eyes. This wasn't just a relationship. This was freedom. For both of us. Then, bang! A knock on the door. Firm. Urgent. He wiped his face, composed himself in seconds. Come in. The door opened. It was the head of HR. Ms. Vernon. And behind her, one of the firm's attorneys. Carter stiffened. Everything all right? He asked. Ms. Vernon gave a professional smile. We'd like to speak with you both, if you have a moment. Privately. I froze. He gave me a quick glance, one that said don't panic. Of course, he said calmly. Let's go to the conference room. They didn't say anything as we walked. Not in the elevator. Not down the quiet hallway. When we stepped into the glass-walled room, the lawyer shut the door behind us. I sat. Carter stood behind me. He didn't let go of my shoulder. Ms. Vernon opened a folder and slid it across the table. There's been an anonymous report of misconduct. A claim of an inappropriate relationship between a director and subordinate. We're obligated to investigate. Carter spoke first. May I see the report? It's confidential, the lawyer replied. But the nature of the claim, it's specific. She turned to me. Mr. Green, would you like to confirm or deny anything on the record? I looked up at Carter. He gave me the tiniest nod. I swallowed. Yes. There was something. But it was mutual. And it never affected our work. There was no coercion. No abuse of authority. The room went quiet. The lawyer leaned forward. That's important. Thank you for your honesty. They handed Carter a copy of the firm's resignation protocol. He didn't flinch. Just signed where they told him. And then they left. When the door closed, I stood. That's it? He smiled, a small, sad thing. That's it. I didn't know what to say. So I kissed him again. Not passionately. Not recklessly. Just, quietly. In that glass box. Surrounded by risk. He pulled back and whispered. I'll meet you outside Monday. 5 p.m. After it's done. But when I got there, he never showed up. I got there early. 5 p.m. sharp. Monday. I stood across the street from Crestwood Financial, watching people spill out the building, phones in hand, coats thrown over their arms. My chest was tight. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I looked for him in every suit that passed. But, nothing. 5:05. 5:11. 5:22. Still nothing. I texted. I'm here. Are you okay? No response. The minutes ticked by. I couldn't breathe. Finally, at 5:38 p.m., I saw Maddie walking toward me, her expression pale. I just heard, she said. He didn't resign. I blinked. What? He didn't submit the final paperwork. He sent HR an email this morning, said he needed more time to process everything. He didn't even come into the office. I tried to process it. Do you think he changed his mind? She looked unsure. Or maybe someone got to him first. I didn't reply. I just stared up at the building, at the office that used to feel like the most dangerous place in the world, and now felt completely empty. That night, I sat in my apartment, lights off, heart in pieces. I checked my phone every few minutes. No message. No call. The next day, nothing. By Wednesday, I'd accepted the silence. The space between us had collapsed into a void. No goodbye. No closure. I told myself to move on. But how do you move on from someone who made you feel seen for the first time? Friday evening, after work, I went by his office one last time. It was quiet. His name still on the door. Desk untouched. But on the floor near the filing cabinet, something small. Folded. White. I bent down and picked it up. It was a sticky note. His handwriting. The date, the day we kissed. And 2 words. Still scared. That's when I knew. He didn't stay because he didn't care. He stayed because he couldn't leave. I walked out of that building knowing something most people never figure out. That love isn't always enough. Sometimes, fear wins. Sometimes, silence is safer than truth. But I also knew this. He loved me. Maybe not publicly. Maybe not forever. But in that moment, behind closed blinds and whispered truths, he did. So now I have to ask you. Would you wait for someone who chose fear over you, or would you walk away before they break you again? Tell me in the comments. Because honestly, I still don't know what I'll do.